Hi guys, I know these are strange and difficult times, and for me, nature and creativity are great therapies. So I'm just going to stick with that. I had mentioned in my last video that I would be traveling and going to photograph sandhill cranes. Shortly after I posted that video, I had to cancel my trip, so I'm sure you're not terribly surprised by that. So I thought I'd share something that I've been working on lately, which is to reconnect with light. As you know, light, composition, and subject matter really come together to make a wonderful photo. And even though I've been doing photography for about 25 years, in the last few years, maybe 4 or 5 years, I've really focused heavily on bird photography. And while I love it and I think it's really fun, it is also super challenging. Especially in the beginning, it was really difficult just to find the birds in the first place. That part is still difficult. And to get them in the frame, get them nice and sharp and in focus. And I got so single-minded in trying to accomplish that. I started to let light and composition fall down in my priority list. It just wasn't on my mind quite as much. And certainly as I got more experienced in bird and wildlife photography, light and composition came back into the mix, and I did start to think about it again. It's not like it was completely gone, but I just feel like when I go out and I photograph a bunch and then I come back and look at a batch of images, if I'm not so excited about it, it's often because I neglected to really consider light. So I really want to bring that back into the forefront of my mind and make sure that I'm making the most of light when I'm out shooting. So to do that, I gave myself a little self-assignment and went out to a local park. I decided to just keep myself to this one little pathway, and I did go back and revisit it a couple of times, but my mission was to let the light lead me. Whenever I saw something that was being lit up beautifully, I would stop and then look for a composition within that, regardless of the subject matter. So the light led me to this beautiful fern plant. I tried a lot of different compositions, and I was trying to pay attention to the background behind the fern and use the darkness, or maybe even use like a monochromatic look where everything is green and I'm just drawing the viewer's eye in with this really shallow plane of focus. Back a different day, I went back to that same fern plant, and this time saw some beautiful curves in this curly little piece of the fern, and the light was hitting it so beautifully, so I'm really happy with these photos. I love the darkness of the background and just the little highlights that the light is putting on that curve. As I went further down the path, the light was hitting these little red flowers really nicely, and at first my eye was drawn to the way the light was hitting the edges of the flowers, so I was kind of working around that and just trying some different things. And as I crouched down in front of one of the blooms, I noticed that the back of the bloom was getting lit up by the sun, and as I was looking at that, I realized there was this tiny little ant deep in the bloom, and I really loved it. It was a little bit windy, so to get like a classic, clean, macro type photograph wasn't going to really be possible unless I had flash to stop the motion. It was difficult to get focus on the ant itself, but that was fine with me. Like, it turned out to be a really fun experiment, and it created to me a little bit of a sci-fi look, or I don't know, just otherworldly. So this whole process was really fun because I just followed the light and let that dictate my photos. So if you like this video, please hit that like button. I hope that I shared a little bit of the joy and peacefulness that nature brings for me, and I hope that you're staying well. Thank you so much for watching.